Good day, viewers. I'm Tricia Elois C. Consuelo from BSN2 and I'm here to discuss about the Lewin's change management model. Before that, I know everyone loves this part because I will going to give you a little trivia. Did you know that this person named Kurt Lewin was born on September 9, 1880 at Mugilno, Germany and died on February 12, 1947. He was known as a Gestalt social psychologist, has been acknowledged as the father of social change theories, since several contemporary models are at least loosely based on Lewin's work. He is also lauded as the originator of social psychology, action research, as well as organizational development. Lastly, he really had the biggest contribution to the model that we will going to discuss because he is the one who developed Levin's change management model. And now, let's proceed to our real discussion. Levin's change management model is a model that represents a very simple and practical model for understanding the change process. It is also known as oldest, simplest, yet robust and applicable change management theory. For Lewin, the process of change entails creating the perception that a change is needed, then moving toward the new, desired level of behavior, and finally, solidifying that new behavior as the norm. Lewin's change theory is a planned change guide that consists of three distinct and vital stages. First is the unfreezing stage, second is the changing stage, and third is the refreezing stage. Let's understand them one by one. Before a change can be implemented, it must go through the initial step of unfreezing. The first stage involves finding a method of making it possible for people to let go of an old pattern that was counterproductive in some way. It might also face difficulties that the members within the system suffer a process of disconfirmations in the unfreezing stage, thus resist changing. Furthermore, old behaviors, ways of thinking, people, and organizational structures should be carefully examined. This stage has its own goal, and it is to create an awareness of how the status quo or current level of acceptability is hindering the organization in some way. Therefore, in the unfreezing stage, the main focus is to reduce the forces that try to maintain an organization's behavior at its present level. Now that the person is unfrozen, they can begin to do an action and proceed to changing stage. The second stage involves a process of change in thoughts, feelings, behavior, or all three, that is in some way more liberating or more productive than doing things the old way. It means that the way he or she handled the things before will be more improved in the present. It also referred to transitioning stage as marked by the implementation of change. Its main characteristics are time-consuming and costly, because it is the time where people are still adjusting on the new change of behavior, processes, and ways of thinking that he or she needs to apply, wherein the person have the feeling of uncertainty and fear that the person needs to overcome. Therefore, the people involved or in the change target group are convinced that the new way is better than the old way. Once the person already mastered the learnings he or she needs for a change, the person should undergo the third stage, and it is the refreezing stage. It symbolizes the act of reinforcing, stabilizing, and solidifying the new state after the change. The changes implemented are frozen in place to ensure that they become part of normal working procedures. The people within the group should observe that their member already consists of establishing the change as a new habit or process. It is now become the standard operating procedure or status quo. This stage is very important because without this refreezing stage, it would be easy for the people to go back for their old behaviors. In order to achieve this stage, positive rewards and acknowledgement of individualized efforts are often used to reinforce the new state because it is believed that positively reinforced behavior will likely be repeated. To sum it up, Kurt Lewins developed three stages for achieving the change. These are the unfreezing stage, to let go of an old behavior; second, in changing stage, providing action to implement the change; and lastly, refreezing stage, making the person to remain still for the new behaviors that he or she have learned. So, let's move on for the application. Being an individual, how would I apply changes in my family, community, academic community, and suggestion for change regarding the management of government for today's COVID issue? For my family, as what I have noticed, our family experience lack of time with each other due to our busy schedules because my parents are both working. Me and my siblings are both busy in school stops. Most of us were very tired as we got home. That's why we are having less conversation wherein we can able to know the happenings in our whole day errands. In this case, I want to unfreeze this and do some change. And it is to building a positive communication and good bonding. Once we are all in home, we must to set aside all the gadgets for a while and everything that may hindrance our bonding so we can able to give time to each other through eating all together and watching movies together and talk about random stuffs. For my community, I want to build a unity to maintain the cleanliness of our environment. Unity is very important because it gives us the courage, power, and strength in order to achieve the goal that we desired. One of the main goals of each community is to maintain the cleanliness of environment in order to prevent the residents from any diseases caused by the microorganisms that can commonly seen in the waste or trash. For my academic community, I want our professors to reinforce the self-esteem of the students, as well as the students will also help their fellow classmates to strengthen their self-esteem, especially we are taking nursing course. Because, as what I notice, some of my classmates are having a low self-esteem that leads them to some difficulties in communicating with their patients and sometimes not having a confidence to express their thoughts. For me, it is the worst behaviors that need to unfreeze as a nursing student and do some change. The professors should encourage their students to believe on their skills and don't feel hesitate to ask questions if there's any problem. Because having a self-esteem is very significant in establishing a rapport with your patients and will help them to have a better collaboration with the doctors and other colleagues. And lastly, for my suggestion for government in today's COVID issue, since the cases in our country are still growing exponentially, the government should immediately conduct mass testing as soon as possible because it is important to determine those positive as soon as possible so they can able to isolate themselves and provide them medical assistance right away. Also, it will help the virus to prevent its spread continuously and lessen cases of acquiring the virus from an infected person. And that's all. Thank you for listening and I hope you learned something about Lewin's change management model. Thank you and keep safe. Bye-bye!